To be perfectly honest, on a question like this, you should not be unsure. You should really know this. This is what I would consider fundamental basic algebra. We cannot combine these terms, so we're not going to get like 14x to the third or anything like that. And thankfully, that's not an answer. The best we can do is factor out something, and the answer choices kind of make that clear. That's what we're trying to do here, is we're trying to remove a number or a value that is kind of common to both. So the only thing, since 9 and 5 are both kind of separate numbers, the only thing that's common to both is the x. So we're going to pull the x out, and then whatever's left over is going to stay in parentheses. So you should be able to just intuitively look at this and instantly know that it's going to be choice A. If you're unsure in any way, remember that what we're doing, which is called factoring, we're factoring out a common term. That is the opposite of something that everybody knows how to do, which is distribution. So you can always get your answer and then distribute back in to test it out. So if we distributed this x into both parts, right? 9x times x, hopefully you know is 9x squared. And then 5 times x, hopefully you know is 5x, which is exactly what we got, so we're good. If we did this to some of the other choices, we would just start getting all over the place. The only other thing you could do, if you really wanted to, is you could arithmetize here. I don't know that that's any better because, first of all, it's definitely more time consuming. But my thinking is if you don't know how this behaves in an algebraic way, you're not going to know how to plug in a number. But just to show you, what I would do here is plug in something like 2, which I know is going to be different if I have an exponent on it. And then I'm going to take my original, which is 9x squared. I'm going to substitute in the 2 plus 5 times 2. So that's 9. 2 squared is 4, so that's 36 plus 5 times 2 is 10. So 46 is kind of what this thing is equal to if I make x 2 randomly. Then I would need to do the same thing for the choices and be like, okay, what do they give us? So A would be 2 times 9 times 2. I'll show the whole thing, plus 5. So that's 2 times 18 plus 5. That's 2 times 23, which is 46. We would then need to do that for all the other choices because it's possible that multiple choices give us 46. I genuinely don't know. I'm not going to do it for all of them. I think you've watched enough. But if you do see a question where you have a variable like an x, but they never ask you to solve for it, it's just kind of carrying through and it's in the question and in the choices, you can always do this arithmetized strategy where you kind of just make up a number and see how it plays out. But in some of those cases, especially in this easier module, it's just better to know how the algebra works. This is not some complicated equation. This is basic combining like terms, distributing, factoring, all things that you really need to know to do well in the SAT.